Yo, what's up, Pectus Nation? I'm making this video in response to a comment that said, I have PE and I'm lonely, period. I think being lonely with Pectus Excavatum is a similar thing in a lot of us. Now, maybe not everyone is lonely that has Pectus Excavatum. But I think that a lot of us, because we have similar characteristics, that we may experience some loneliness, some social awkwardness, some isolation, particularly in the summertime, right? I know growing up. So if when I say something, I'm speaking out of experience. So maybe this is for you, maybe this isn't. Maybe you can relate, but I'm hoping and I'm thinking that a lot of you can. So I think because we have Pectus Excavatum, right, like growing up, hiding becomes a tendency, right? Like hiding ourselves, hiding our chests, especially in the summertime. I remember my friends would invite me to go swimming all the time, and I'd make up some excuse and I'd say no. And where would that put me at? That'd leave me lonely in my room at home in the middle of a perfect summer day, or in the bathroom, staring into the mirror, crying my eyes out because my friends were out having a good time, swimming, doing shit that I wanted to do, but just didn't have the courage to take my shirt off and enjoy them. So, for many years, I chose the option of isolating myself, becoming lonely. And it sucked. Now, through this video, I want to share with you how I believe we can change that. How I believe loneliness can be a good thing and how to overcome it. And I'm speaking with 32 years of experience. I'll start off by saying that right now, I'm lonelier than I ever have been in my entire life. I'm the realest I've ever been. I'm the greatest that I've ever been. I'm the strongest that I've ever been. But I'm lonely as shit. And that's because I just separated from my wife. And I lost everything. Everything. I'm still very grateful, my family, still alive. They still have their health. I'm very grateful in many ways, but I lost my identity, my home, my family, my lifestyle, just everything, man. And I moved in with my brother like 5 months ago to this small little room. Literally, this isn't the room, this is the basement. Literally like a 5 by 8 foot room, and it sucked. That's loneliness, when you lose it all after having so much. And it all started about 10 years ago, right? 11 years ago. When I was in my early 20s, I was a master of running away, not being the real me. This was way before I took my shirt off at my high school reunion, right? Because of the fear of Pectus Excavatum, I put up this persona I didn't put up the real Alex Vivanco because I had a secret. So I couldn't, and that secret was my chest. So I was living with the mindset that people wouldn't accept me for my chest. Therefore, my mindset was, all right, I gotta portray myself as this person or whatnot, like someone that people would like. Why? Because I was afraid deep down inside of the rejection people might give me if they knew that I had Pectus Excavatum. Like I would think, damn, my friends wouldn't look at me as cool as I thought I was if they knew I had Pectus Excavatum, or girls wouldn't want me, or they would just point to me and I would just be this freak. That was my fear. So I was afraid of being lonely. So I became someone else. And it's funny how it works in reverse. Because I was afraid of being lonely and I never faced it, now I'm lonelier than ever. But this time, I gotta face it. And what I have to face is learning the pain of learning how to love yourself. That means learning how to be happy while being alone, meaning while being, not being alone, but learning how to be happy by being the authentic, real, secretless you. Every shame, every secret, everything. Can you give all of you out there to the world, to your friends, family, whatever it is? And if that puts you in a lonely position, which it won't, I'll get to that. But if you can have the mindset like, look, I'm willing to risk everything so that I can be myself, as opposed to having everything and never truly being myself, right? If you can live like that, yeah, you might face some loneliness at first, but you'll learn to love yourself for everything, no matter what happens on the outside, who comes into your life. When you can do that, when you can live at a state of happiness and vibration, high vibration, without any external factors stimulating your happiness, and you can do that, then you'll literally start to vibrate at a higher energy. You'll be happier. Happiness is a feeling. We're all bodies of energy, right? And so if you can feel true happiness and love for yourself, then you won't need to pretend or put out this fake persona or something that isn't real. You can just put out the real you, and you won't have to show off or do anything to try to be accepted by others, because you already accept yourself. And when you can live like that, people will feel that. They'll be attracted to that, because you're not dependent on taking their energy so that you can feed yourself with energy to make yourself feel good. So when you learn to love yourself, others are more likely to love you authentically, because you already love yourself. Now let's go back again to, being a teenager, right? I didn't love myself in high school, middle school, 6th grade, elementary school. How can you tell if someone doesn't really love themselves? For me, for instance, I was the biggest class clown in the world. And I still, now, I love making people smile and laugh. That's my nature. But I think a lot of it has to do with me wanting to feel loved by others, especially back in my school days. because I didn't have that love for myself. So I needed it from other people to feel accepted. So I did what I thought cool kids did, you know, like I just lashed out. I was a class clown. I rebelled just because I thought it was cool. And truth is, I thought it was cool. People would laugh and look up to me and think of me as this cool guy or this cool kid, you know. But I was still lonely. You know, I had a couple of great friends, right? I had 2 best friends growing up and other friends. But I was still never the real me. And I was still lonely as shit. Even though I pretended like I wasn't. Because I was always afraid to be the real me. And being afraid of being the real me left me with a mask that looked like he was cool and popular and had friends, but deep down inside, nah, not me. I was lonely as hell. So, what I'd like to recommend for you guys, if you're in your teens or in your early 20s, is the best thing that you can do. Right? Look, man, you're going to follow your own heart. You're going to live your life. You're going to go through your own journey. You're going to have your own lessons and trial and error situations where you're going to learn. You're going to do you, right? But from my experience, I just like to share with you that I'm 32 years old right now. I'm happy as hell. Don't get me wrong, guys. I'm in a great state right now, right? I'm in the greatest opportunity of my life right now. To be alone for the first time, to learn how to love myself and to be all of what I can be, right? Like to become a real man, you know, because before I wasn't. I just wasn't. I was just faking it. I just was not faking it like on purpose, but like just when I was in a relationship, I didn't fully love myself. I was dependent on the love of my wife. And there's nothing wrong with getting love from your wife. Absolutely not. But if that's the only thing that makes you happy and you can't make yourself happy, eventually it's going to fall apart. There's this saying that a lot of people, there's this virus, mind virus, that often is implanted in our minds that goes, yeah, you're a half and we're on this world to find our other half to complete us. That's bullshit. This will never work. You can never find another half to complete you. Only you can complete you. When you can complete you, then if you find someone else that knows how to complete themselves, meaning make themselves happy, live their purpose, know their identity, know who they are, you know, just be real, the real them, have no shame, no matter what other people think. And you can find a person that is whole and you can be whole. Boom. Boom. That'll equal perfection. That'll equal high energy equals happiness. High energy equals happiness and love. When you can combine the two, you won't be depending on each other for each other's happiness, and you won't get into emotional freaking, you know, battles or whatnot. You won't be depending on their energy to make you feel good. They won't do it to you. Now, let's go back again. Early 20s. I'm lonely as hell. I think I'm cool. I might look cool, but I'm lonely as hell. It wasn't until my early 20s where I got my first girlfriend. Like real girlfriend. And that's because I stopped hiding my Pectus Excavatum. Up until my early 20s, I never told anyone about my Pectus Excavatum. When I would have a girl, like I'd never let them near my chest because I'd be afraid that I'd be rejected and be lonely. And what ended up happening is I couldn't be myself. So they would get next to my chest and I would like push their hands away or like freak out. And then I would scare them off and I would end up lonely. So if you're lonely, one, learn to master yourself. That's a whole freaking topic to talk about. That can be broken down in so many ways. But a relationship will never work truly until you yourself learn to love yourself. Now, you're probably going to get relationships. You're going to have a girlfriend or boyfriend. And that's cool, right? We all have our journeys. If you want to get a girlfriend, I would recommend that you just start being real. So for example, when I got my first girlfriend, like real girlfriend, like I didn't hide my Pectus Excavatum. That's when it happened. And what ended up happening is we fell in love. And we got married. We had a family. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. The first love of my life was the only true love of my life to this day. But still, I didn't master myself in the past 10 years, right? Just because I was able to be comfortable with my Pectus Excavatum with this girl doesn't mean I mastered myself, right? Like I forced myself to pretend I didn't care about my Pectus Excavatum when deep down inside I was crapping my pants when she found out about it. I just pretended like I was cool, or like I accepted it. Didn't pretend I was cool. I just pretended that it was nothing. And what ended up happening, because I faced that fear, I ended up not being lonely. And so I fell in love. Now, I fell so deeply in love because for the first time, somebody loved me and knew about my chest. So how do you think that made a person of 20-something years that never been in love, that never loved themselves, how do you think it made me feel? I fell head over heels, madly in love. And it was amazing. It was amazing. But still, I hadn't conquered myself yet, fully. I made a ton of mistakes, emotional mistakes, because I didn't love myself. And the relationship with my wife now, it's over, right? All for the better though, because now I'm in this position of loneliness at 32 years old. And it sucks, man. It really does. But now I see the bigger picture, you know? I see why. I see why I made mistakes. Not just because I'm human. Yeah, we're all human and we all make mistakes, but why? And for me, it was because I didn't truly love myself. And I'll dive into that more one day when the timing is right, or if you have any questions. But now I have an opportunity to truly be myself, to learn to be unashamed of my metaphorical Pectus Excavatum, my other mistakes. Life is full of Pectus Excavatum, guys. It's full of things that we can be ashamed of, full of mistakes, full of fear. But the question is, how do we decide to look at it? If we can learn to look at it with love and see the gift and this curse of loneliness of our mistakes, when we could find the love at our most loneliest moments, when we could find the gift in those curses, that's when we truly become free. And happiness comes easily, and love comes easily with the real, free, spirited you. Loneliness sucks, guys. It really does. But I encourage you to look at it as a gift. If it sucks, then look at it as, I'm just not there yet with loving myself fully. Right? And learn to make yourself happy. Find your passion. Find that hobby. Just find that inner peace without needing the company of others or, any external factors. Find that inner peace. It's all inside. Peace, happiness is all inside. When you can find that, then you'll have that everywhere you go, whether it's a rainstorm, snowstorm, lonely storm, people hating on you storm. When you can find that, then we'll find love by others, by the world. So master the loneliness. Turn it into a gift. Learn to love yourself. Face your fears. Be real, even if it's going to isolate you. Because, ironically, it probably won't. But don't be afraid of it if it does.